I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Future.
Time is a currency.
If you had as much time as I have, what would you do with it?
Sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
You do everything a little too fast.
Not everything.
In Time, October 28th.
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and there's another paid request. This time from Jordon. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request any paid requests for reviews, topics, re-reviews, reactions, pretty much anything, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. Now, In Time came out in 2011. It's from the director of Galecki, which I thought was interesting because I liked Galecki. And I might have seen this film, but I did not remember much about it. It stars Justin Timberlake, yes, the same Justin Timberlake, the singer, yeah. And it also have Amanda Seyfried, Olivia Wilde, Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy was in Sunshine, 28 Days Later. He played the Scarecrow in Batman Begins. Now, the plot of the film was interesting, and it's funny because when this film came out, they were actually sued by sci-fi writer Harlan Ellison. Harlan Ellison wrote many sci-fi stories, including some for Star Trek and the original Star Trek. And he sued these guys because he thought, oh, you guys are ripping off a story I made. But then I guess it got settled because he saw the film and, nope, it's not like my story. Or he thought it was, maybe he thought it was so shitty, I don't care. I don't know. But apparently on the lawsuit, he's like, nah, this isn't really like my story. The idea behind the film is, it's in the future where people stop aging after 25 years old. Now, they could be 50, 70, 100, but they still look like they're 25. But what happens is this clot starts. This clot starts on your arm. Now, they don't really specify what the fuck this is, which could be good, could be bad, however you want to, whatever side you pick on it. This countdown for like 24 hours, and you could buy more time, or you work to get more time, and thus the money, the currency, is having more time to live. And it shows right here on your arm, the minutes count down till your death. And if you're working, you put something in, it'll add more time. You want to buy a cup of coffee. It's like, oh, a cup of coffee costs 4 minutes. What? It was 3 minutes yesterday. Well, it ran up. It's 4 minutes. So imagine having to pay 4 minutes of your life for a cup of coffee. I'd be like, you know what? I'm done with coffee. I love Mellow Yellow, but if it's like 4 minutes of my life for Mellow Yellow, I'd be like, you know, maybe I could just drink water. You know, maybe I just drink water. Unless you have like 100 years. which kind of comes into play later on. And although there was that part of me that I go, would anyone really give up 4 minutes of their life for a cup of coffee? And then I take a look at the people in today's age, and I'm like, yeah, there would be. There would be. I mean, technically we do that anyway. I mean, you think about it, we technically waste our time doing all sorts of stuff. Imagine if we had that clock on our arm, would we do the same thing? And I kind of wish the movie would go even deeper on those levels. I think that's why the second half kind of flounders a little bit, because the second half turns to more of a Robin Hood, little Bonnie and Clyde thing, when I think there's a lot of different ideas that you could really build up. And with this concept, there's a lot of things you could go into, but they do not. But it's an interesting idea. This whole way of the rich wanting to get richer and outpricing stuff more and more. Prices keep increasing, so you have to give up more and more of your minutes in your life, and you desperately have to work to keep your daily life going. Although it's weird, this is a pretty big advancement to have this whatever the fuck machine, whatever the fuck that has this time literally on your skin. But there's no other technological advancements. Not in the cars, not in the buildings, not anything else. So it was kind of weird visual aesthetic to the film where, again, nothing else is futuristic other than this one thing. And I go, why? Okay. I don't really get why they went that route, because it just doesn't seem to click. It seems like it literally would be in today's age, but then we just happen to have this. I don't. They've set it up that's been some time later on, but okay, whatever. So then another interesting, I gotta stop using interesting, another fascinating idea is, like, his mom, Justin Timberlake's mom, is played by Olivia Wilde. But, like I said, because you stop aging at 25, you can't have an actress like Olivia Wilde, who was in Cowboys and Aliens. I remember from the TV show House MD. She has a motherly relationship with Justin, but even though they look the same age. So again, that made it a little bit more unique. And I thought Olivia Wilde did a good job. Sadly, she's not in the film too much. And so they're going day to day, trying to survive day by day. And then the stranger enters this establishment, this bar. And he has like a shitload, like a century. And some people want to steal it. Justin Timberlake helps him out. But this guy's like, I don't want to live. And he's like, what? Like, that's your problem? Really? And then you get certain conversations that I didn't mind. After this, escape from the bar and Justin Timberlake helping him out, there's this conversation, and go, well, you know what? Everybody can't live forever. Sometimes we need to die when we need to die. I mean, where would we put them all? I mean, why do you think the rich guys keep hiking up the prices? Because they want to kill out the poor. Because with all the resources that we have, the limited resources, do you think everybody's able to live forever? I'm like, he's got a good point. But then he negates the point going, well, actually, there is a way. I'm like, well, you brought a really interesting point, and then you kind of negated it, like, halfway through. And I'm like, that'd be an interesting predicament. If we only have a limited amount of resources, but everyone's able to live forever. But now this guy's saying, oh, but we can't make that work. It's just they want to be assholes. And it's almost like, well, which direction you want to go in? And that's what I mean, it's a bit disappointing coming from the director of Gattaca, because Gattaca seemed like it handled those ideas a bit more of a stronger path than this movie. Another thing that was a bit confusing is the way you could give time to other people by doing this. So like Justin Timberlake's asleep, and the guy gives him like all of his time except a little bit for him to go to a bridge and fall off it. I'm like, wait a minute, it's that easy? Like, if I want to steal your life, I just do this. Or I knock you out and I go this. Wouldn't there be some kind of security to not make that so easily to do? That seems like a really shitty thing. Like, hey, if I want to kill you, I just gotta knock you out and touch you. I'm like, or when you're sleeping, if that's the case, wouldn't there be people like, fuck it, I'm gonna wear a bunch of fucking armor so no one can touch me, armor here, like, wouldn't that be the case? I don't know. The whole thing where it's just by touching, not like any other more technical or more specific, more elaborate ways. I thought that's really fun. I mean, I wonder how fucking works. Like, if you're fucking, do you end to it? Oh shit! Yeah. Oh shit! I took all her life. Shit! She's dead on my dick. So if you're fucking, you're touching each other. Do you have to like, okay, don't take care of my life. No, don't take care of your life. Don't do it. Not even by accident. Fucking would have to be a stressful thing if that, like, if you're fucking, it's like da. You look like the guy from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, who chose too poorly. Chose poorly. So anyways, I'm not sure how that all works. So yeah, as you can tell, I didn't love the movie, but I like the idea behind it. Justin Timberlake I thought was okay. I do think it could have used a better actor. I think that would have been more beneficial. Someone, for instance, there's a film called The Adjustment Bureau, starring Matt Damon. Another film which had a really clever, intriguing idea, but I thought was more successful with its idea, more successful in what it was trying to do, and Matt Damon was a strong enough actor to pull it off. That's one of my favorite films featuring that actor. Again, if you, whether it be Matt Damon, whether it be even Ben Affleck, whether it be, and yes, I do like Ben Affleck sincerely, Aaron Eckhart, even like Thomas Jane, I don't like him not just for his action, but I do think he's an underrated actor. I do think someone else, well, I got to backtrack. It has to be someone that's 25. Just as 25. I have to think like who's 25 at the time, or looks 25 at the time. So I guess you have to be limited in that aspect. I don't know. Again, I don't know who's 25 around 2011, or 26, or 24, or 28. Although Cillian Murphy, he plays his pretty much cop chasing Justin Timberlake. I'm like, does this guy look 25? Cillian Murphy? Is he's supposed to be 25 as well? Or look 25, I should say. Do I really buy... Well, technically that's not his age, but again, everyone's supposed to look 25 forever, because that's when they stop aging. I don't know if Cillian Murphy really looks 25, but okay. So I would say at the end of the day, because what happens is he gets all this time, he gives a buddy of his like 10 years, because he's got like a century. And I'm like, okay, when you have a century, what are you going to do? What are you yourself going to do? Maybe it's going to be a chase movie where people are trying to steal from him, and he's giving some and grabbing others and getting some, this back and forth, and what can he accomplish? Or the themes of, okay, now he has this, you've got what you want, is it better than you hope for, you wish for? Or is it, you know what, it's not as good as I thought it would be? Or maybe some other deeper themes, but that's, no, not always the case with this flick, sadly. I didn't mind the moment, there's a moment where his mom, Olivia Wilde, the bus fare rose from an hour to 2 hours, so she can't afford it. She doesn't get to her son in time, so she dies in the nick of time, sadly. And that's where finally he's pissed off. He's like, I'm going to make someone fucking pay for this. Goes up to the richer folks. And like the richer folks, I do like the idea of them taking their time. Because they can take their time. Because they got all the time in the world. And they can do whatever they want. But then if you're in the poorer sector, you're much more frenetic and frenzied. Which would make sense because you don't have much to lose. You don't have much to dawdle. You have a lot to lose if you dawdle too long. So that different dynamic, which I think they could have done even more so with that. And there's certain moments, for example, he does an arm wrestling match with someone later on. Because I know I'm going all over the place. I apologize. One thing leads to another. There's this rich girl, Amanda Seyfried, takes her hostage. They move. They get out of there. They're being chased. They fall in love. Then they do a little Bonnie and Clyde where they get in Robin Hood where they rob banks to give to the poor so they can have more life. But then the bad guys hike up the prices and then they realize they got to do even bigger score. Meanwhile, Cillian Murphy's a cop chasing them. Meanwhile, you also have these other assholes that just steal time from people. And one of those, Justin Timberlake has his arm wrestling moment where they're both taking each other's time and one wins. I didn't mind that scene. I didn't mind certain bits of that. The action scenes, when they do happen, they're there. There's like a little car chase, little foot chases, but there's nothing really noteworthy. Maybe alright at best, but there's nothing to really describe. Talk about, yeah, that scene was awesome. Nothing comes to mind on those scenes. And I hate to say it, because I'm usually the guy who's the opposite. I actually wish it was more of a intellectual, deeper movie in the second half. Because Galecki kind of followed that, and it was rather effective. I wish this did that too, and it doesn't. It just becomes sort of, if you get like a stronger actor, and like I said, Justin Timberlake, I've seen him do stuff like Alpha Dog, and he's decent. He was all right. And this, I'm not going to say he was a piece of shit, because I don't think he's a piece of shit. He's a lot better than fucking Vanilla Ice and Cool as Ice. Like that. Was it whatever the fuck his real name, Van Winkle, where the hell Vanilla Ice's, Rip Van Winkle, is it Van Winkle, Rip Van Winkle, whatever the fuck his name is, he sucks. Justin Timberlake I don't think sucks, I just think he's okay though. I maybe at this point in his life, in his career, he wasn't ready for this kind of role, and I do think there's other actors that would have been more stronger, emotionally more empathetic, more of a strong emotional core that you're bringing into this type of story. And like I said, the Bonnie and Clyde Robin Hood thing, like I said, I'm watching, I'm going, okay, this is a time waster, but I think it could have been much more than a time waster. I think you have a very intriguing concept, like what if you had this thing that's your life and that's used as currency in order to get more. But just like certain things, like you could just take it from that, like nothing else to it. And certain ideas of having to live that way, ups and downs, like little nuggets would shown that throughout the script that made it appealing as a science fiction story, but I don't think it was entirely successful in what it could have been. Like, as is, did I hate the film? No. Like I said, it's a time waster. It's a time waster at best, but I do think it could have been much more. Which, I mean, is better than I thought, because I thought, oh, Justin Timberlake, this is going to be a piece of shit. I don't remember liking the film when I first saw it, but I might have seen only bits and pieces, but not the whole thing through. I don't know. But I'm like... I didn't. From the director, Galecki, did a little bit more. Granted, like I said, better than I thought it would be, so that's good. But I'm like, okay, after the first like 20, 30 minutes, I'm like, wow, where's this going? And it's like, oh, okay, that's where it's going. And that's the thing, if you don't do the Bonnie and Clyde Robin Hood thing, it wasn't that exciting. Like, the bank robberies weren't that exciting. The ending finale, there's really nothing big or of the fun escapism level. It's not like you got big, elaborate special effects. Because again, the whole world looks normal except this thing on people's arms. Like the cars, the buildings, everything looks the same. So, yeah. Like The Island with Michael Bay. Yeah, that devolved more into less intellectual, more bombastic, but at least Michael Bay, I thought, did that successfully. He's like, I don't want to be bombastic, fuck it. It was fun. And that's the thing, like, you go either the Gattaca way, where it had ideas, and I thought it fully realized it, but if you don't go to the dumber way, then really go for, like, Michael Bay with The Island, which I think is underrated. I know it's not original, but with Ewan McGregor and I forgot her name, damn it. I forgot her fucking name. I know her fucking name. Fuck. But I really like The Island. I think it's underrated. So I think it's one of Michael Bay's more underrated films. Let's say either go really big, go home fun with an interesting concept, or this is kind of... I don't know if I would want a remake, but I wouldn't... You know what? Actually, no, I take that back. A remake of this actually wouldn't be too bad. But I mean, it just came out 2011. Well, the remaking Wrong Turn, which I don't think needs a remake, so it wouldn't be too soon. So with that said, it is what it is. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.